But now they can't hear us.
And the guest is dunking.
Well, he's just there, look.
I only come for the biscuits. Biscuits and the tea.
You heard there was a new pack of biscuits.
Good biscuits as well.
Proper chocolate.
Caramel chocolate digestives. Proper McVitie's digestives. The people.
But they're small these days.
Like wagon wheels.
Like everything.
Like wagon wheels. It's James Simpson-Hill.
Quite dry as well. Oh, sorry.
Are they? No, it's okay. You can, we've lost any sense of professionalism when we left Radio Yorkshire. And even then...
We never had any.
Rugby League's birthday last week.
It was? Yeah. Did you send it a card?
No, I forgot. And lots of people saying, no, actually, it's not Rugby League's birthday. It was the Northern Rugby Football Union. Yeah, but when people get married... Right, you've changed your name, right? Mm-hmm. So that means that it's not your birthday when it's your birthday. Because
why didn't we make more of our birthday?
It was still the day I was born.
I'm still waiting for... I know, that's what people say. I'm waiting for Ralph Rimmer's 125th birthday party, which got cancelled due to COVID.
We're having a party.
130-year party?
Why shouldn't we have a party?
I'm up for a party.
Why on Sky?
Can we have a buffet?
Sky.
On Sky on Friday night, which was indeed the date of Rugby League's birthday. Why didn't have a big cake at Hull KR?
Because I watch professional wrestling, and if there's a cake, someone's face has got to go into it. Like John Wilkin. Was he there?
I still don't see an issue with that. that would increase your viewing
Jenna
figures.
comes along, goes...
lovely.
The cake. Yeah.
They should have had a cake.
They should have had a cake, but I know they think that Rugby League started in 1996 because they invented it, but there should have been a cake. It's the only sport in the world that knows exactly the day it was formed.
There's even a blue plaque.
Yeah, there's loads of them. There's one at Belgium.
There isn't a George Hotel, but there's a blue plaque.
If only today it would have been done on Zoom.
Was it 2020 we did, because it was 125-year anniversary, we did that big press conference.
Yeah, there was going to be a party,
but there was going to be a party.
Because it was me, Jake Connor and Kelsey Gentle all did pictures next to the plaque.
What happened to Jake Connor?
Oh, was that at the season launch at the Huddersfield Town Hall?
2020,
Because I was there, because I interviewed Kelsey there.
Because it was the big 125-year anniversary. Yeah. And then we all went and did pictures by the blue plaque in all our England gear.
Oh, yeah, I remember. I was there then. I must have interviewed you that day.
But then COVID.
I must have interviewed you that day.
Was you what?
I must have interviewed you.
You did?
Yeah, I
you did.
I must have. I remember waiting right until the end to interview your fellow former Leeds captain, and also double-barrelled surname with Hill at the end. Courtney
Winfield
Hill.
Hill. Yeah.
Say, Lauren Winfield Hill scored 194 for Yorkshire's women the other day. Yorkshire's men, rubbish.
Yeah.
Welcome to the
Before we
podcast.
start-
We've got a spare chair.
Yeah. Is that for Chenade Peach?
That's a disciplinary chair. Congratulations to the new captain of the England wheelchair rugby league team.
Big Lewis.
I think we should
West Ham fan.
start with
Yeah.
Big Lewis King.
Yeah.
Now you're a fan.
Massive. Great guy.
Great appointment.
Absolutely massive. Yeah. I texted him yesterday to congratulate him. I couldn't think of a better person for it to go to. And not many people have captained England, so to get that massive honour is huge. And I really know how much it mean to him as well. So I remember in 2017 when we were in France, him coming out as a fan to watch the World Cup, and then the journey he's gone on from that to where he's now, like captain the side. But then when you got someone like Lewis at his age as well, growing up able-bodied, getting a disability in his 20s, that is giving him such life experience that he can use, in the leadership role as well. But absolutely amazing appointment. I think if with Tom being out, if he were going to go to someone, I think Lewis is the number one man.
He doesn't look 40. He doesn't look 40 at all.
He's a good-looking guy, isn't he? Yeah. He's a good-looking guy.
I feel comfortably
Be
in my
very
sexuality
careful
to say.
because we're into Chenade Peach territory here.
Yeah,
I'm
absolutely amazing.
saying he's a handsome man. That's all.
I'm just saying, just be very
That's
careful
where the
because
line's
the
drawn.
next
Oh.
logical extension is
I'm a
which
big-
one of us is he?
I'm a big fan of how they've marketed it, like the King of
The
England
King.
and all that lot. 'Cause
Yeah.
that's what that's what
He's
everyone's
not,
called
he's
him
not
for
a
years.
Cockney though, is he?
No, he's from Essex.
So
And he'll tell you he's from Essex.
Yeah.
Like he's
there's no Bow Bells.
no.
Yeah, but
no.
would you want to be? Well, you might be a proud Essex person. I don't know.
Yeah, I think it is.
Is
Yeah.
he the only good person from Essex?
I don't know who else is from Essex.
Joey Essex. That fella off Strictly, the one who goes Bosch. I don't know.
Yeah, big fan of all the media with him as well. Yeah, it's good. He's
So
a good guy.
that's a great news story.
Oh, it is. Yeah, it is. It'll mean a lot to him as well, and I know it'll mean a lot to his wife Ellie as well, because they're both just heavily invested in his journey and they're such a good couple that I know it'll mean a lot to her as well.
So now we need to get him on the pitch at the Olympic Stadium because he's a West Ham fan, going around and he's the England captain.
Mm-hmm.
Bobby Moore, England captain.
At the Bobby Moore statue.
We don't know what's going to happen. If Tom's injury goes on for longer, he might be the England captain at the World Cup.
You don't
Could
know,
be
do
like
you?
Bobby Moore.
Sports
Exactly.
a fickle beast. You don't know.
Could be the new Bobby Moore. And be shunned by everyone after he wins the World Cup and pretend afterwards. Yeah, but no, great appointment.
Great appointment.
Looking forward to seeing them in action at the Ashes.
Yeah.
The Ashes.
Well,
which
we don't know if we're going to see the Ashes. do
Well, it's called the Ashes, though, isn't it? We are calling it the Ashes.
we? Well, if
Yeah.
we're not,
Yeah.
we're not marketing it
I
properly.
don't know what we called it in 2019 when we did it. I don't know if we called it the Ashes.
No one cared about wheelchair rugby league in 2019.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
all right.
Yeah.
It's like the World Cup, right? Before then, nothing counts.
Nothing.
It's like the women's game.
An
Nothing
overnight
counts.
success that took 20
Yeah.
years to build.
Women's rugby league, nothing counts before the World. The World Cup and
Yeah.
bit playing at Wembley and stuff. Nothing counts.
So do you want to do wheelchair now, or do you want to wait till?
Well, I guess
I don't mind.
we have to wait for James, don't we, to come in to talk
I
about
will-
the Chenade Peach thing.
He's the match official.
Yeah, and he has experience of being abused by players. So,
What time's he getting? 1:15.
Yeah. It's,
so what,
Oh, I've got my Hello Fresh delivery. That's gonna be sat outside in the rain now.
oh, hello
you're
to
so middle class, aren't you?
Oh, do you know
Mr. Double Barrel surname, Phil.
that? Yeah, I've gone posh.
Hello, Carsten. He's watching. And Phil, just one day without bad news. It's not too much to ask for.
It's good news. Lewis has got Lewis is England captain.
That's good news.
Good news.
Salford won again. That
Who,
was good.
Yeah.
Who do we want to talk about first then?
Well,
Because I
feel-
reckon the topics are clearly Chenade Peach,
Yep.
which, whatever the rights and wrongs, we have never had publicity.
Certainly the women's
People
game.
are making gifs of it and
Yeah.
TikToks and
Yeah,
all
yeah.
sorts of it from
But
across
all
the world.
over the world.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like, wow. If
Like
you'd
Aussies
have
are
paid
doing
for
it.
this, if you'd have paid IMG to get us this exposure,
And at least you
it
didn't
would have been
look,
millions.
Yeah.
At least you didn't swear. If you'd have sworn, it would have been worse.
And we know
So
of.
there's that.
Yeah.
We didn't actually hear what she
well,
said.
that's true. Yeah.
There's Salford,
Yeah.
who I think, again, I just don't know how, if you are a devotee of Salford, you've got the euphoria of what happened on Friday night,
Yeah.
and then they've just announced that Kurt Haggerty's leaving.
Well, they should survive because they won a game against Warrington. Even though Warrington are crap, and they don't pay the bills. That's all right.
Do we talk about Warrington? Or
Well,
have,
I think
we,
we've
have we
talked-
said enough?
Well, I'll tell you what we can talk about Warrington is Warrington's women again, which is a symptom of Warrington's malaise, which we've talked about, and that's twice now this season they've given up a game, because that's what they've done, against Leeds this time, against Saints last
But
time.
the under-19s played. So the Super League team didn't play, but what would have been the pre-game played against the Rhinos under-19s.
And I should preface this point, because people get the wrong idea. It's not about the ability of the players. We're not talking about the players.
No.
The players are victims in this as well, because the club doesn't care, because that's the way it looks across. Leeds Rhinos players get win bonuses, don't they? I don't know. And Saints players get some money for playing.
Yeah.
So in
toward
both those,
expenses towards their training.
both those games that have been cancelled, those players have lost out on money. Which, you know, when we're talking about Women's Rugby League is this tiny thing and there's no money in it, well, there's an opportunity for people to make money, and we've taken it away from them because Warrington Wolves Rugby League Football Club don't care enough to put the resource into their women's team. Why do players leave earlier this season to go to Swinton? In the league below? We don't know.
So,
Can they not get a team? Is that the...
That's the excuse.
So they've got
So the
players
same
that
as,
are injured? or
same
can they
as
just-
you and the same as Salford.
well,
There are 2 weddings. They've had 2 weddings.
so I was going to say, the Salford issue is slightly different. Because it's full-time, professional sport,
Yeah.
there's a television deal attached to it, there's a load
you
of...
don't get money from Sky, do you?
There's a load of circumstances...
Unless you do punditry, then you get that
Could
Sky
have
money.
moved the wedding if Sky had paid some money.
I'd have put the wedding on Sky.
But Women's Super League and wheelchair are in the same bracket because it's
It's a totally amateur
classed as
sport.
community sport.
Yeah, it's totally amateur.
So under the auspices of even the RFL, it's the community board that technically looks after.
Yeah.
You know, it's foundations that look after those
Yeah, yeah.
teams. And
yeah.
I know some of the women's teams have now come back under the clubs.
Because
But
Leeds are under the
in
foundation.
Women's Super League, like Super League,
Hmm.
you know, the branding Super League, it's got its own little badge, different
And a
colour.
colour.
Yeah, they're purple, aren't they?
Yep.
I can't remember.
Your league,
Warrington, 2 matches.
Yep.
Implications? No.
Well, they've got dot points.
But they've not been expunged.
No.
They've not been told that next year they're not going to be in Super League. You know, there's been no public admonition of what they've done.
No.
Wheelchair Rugby League, game missed.
Yeah.
Don't particularly want to go over the circumstances of why it was missed. I think everybody does know that, and who had noticed when and all that kind of thing.
Yeah, I think everyone's bored of that now.
But
We're bored of it.
the
We were
punishment,
bored of it 4 months ago.
but the punishment doesn't seem to fit the crime from where I'm sitting. I mean, you're in the middle of it, so yeah, awarding a game, get that. It's in the laws. Taking off a point, fine. It's in the laws. Discretionary whether to throw you out the playoffs.
Yeah.
And the implication of that, because we are the sport of unintended consequence, Hull get put into the playoffs against a very good Halifax team who've already won the Challenge Cup,
Well, they're on for the treble if they can get
already
it.
won the league leadership.
Yeah.
Probably the form team. London may have a say in that. They beat Hull 134-0 in the first round of the playoffs. How does that help the sport?
Well, it doesn't. It doesn't. Like, Hull struggled for a team, so I speak to the majority of the other Super League coaches weekly. Like, we're constantly chatting, and they didn't have a team till Friday. I think they ended up with 7.
Sinead Peach has arrived.
I've only come to find out who people are shagging.
What an entrance! What an entrance!
How are we doing?
Good to see you again.
Good to see you, James. I don't know if you actually introduced James. I was listening in the car. by the
Everybody
way.
knows who he
Yeah,
is.
we
One
all
look
know,
at his
we all
face.
know.
they know
Spent
who
4 years of plastering me everywhere. I'm trying to hide in the shadows now. I'm trying
He's
to
been on
just leave me alone.
documentaries, he's been on the World Cup and everything.
People are listening online might not be able to hear.
Bah.
They can't.
Is it my quiet voice?
So, the punishment doesn't fit the crime, and
Well,
the unintended consequences that we
Yeah.
had a result of 134-0, which
It's
helps nobody.
discretionary. To be honest, we don't care. Like, the wedding was the priority. It always was. Do you know, we're a family, and like, that's going to come. It's an amateur sport. Like, that was going to come first. You know, Ewan and Jamie are both huge parts of our club. It was going to come first, and the punishment was discretionary. We got threatened with booting out of Super League totally. So next year we'll be in the Championship. We all knew it. The players knew it. Every email I got, the players were briefed up on the news, so we all made the joint decision. So we were just, whatever came our way, we were kind of like, we got to the stage where we were like, just do something. Do you know, we were like, either punish us, don't punish us, we just want to crack on with the wedding. And when we were like 2 days before the wedding, there was still stuff flinging about. We were just at the stage where we were like, just do something now and let us just get on with the wedding instead of like harping on about it.
You reminded me, because there was a team in the Women's Super League not too long ago who didn't fulfil a fixture. It might have actually been against Warrington, and were threatened with expulsion, because you just mentioned.
And that may happen,
But we don't
what
know
I'm
'cause I
saying
haven't
is,
said anything.
in wheelchair,
Yeah.
it's happened very quickly.
So
and
what I would have done for the sake of the game is keep us in the top 4 to keep it more competitive.
but also,
But then, if you really wanted to make a big song and dance about punishers, just say you can't play in the final or something.
but if
Because
you,
Halifax
but if you,
and Edinburgh London is now the only competitive game, and now with us not there, they're not getting the extra competitive game. The players going to Australia losing out a competitive game. So
but
I'd
it's
have just
also
been
about
like,
narrative, and for Sky, who are going to have the final on the back
Yeah,
of
yeah.
very little else, it's like, here's 2 teams playing in it.
Yeah.
The defending champions going out in a press release is not good for the sport.
No.
It's also
Well,
not-
I don't think it's whatever the decision was. I think it's, if there was an intention of it to go a certain way, I think it's blown back, because every Super League club, wheelchair Super League clubs, have reached out to us, just supporting us. Match officials, TV broadcasters, journalists. We've had people message us, staff from the RFL, staff from Super League Commercial. We've had people reach out to us as a club, or me individually, all the people in the team individually, just sharing their support for us.
So now you're in, is it the plate, the shield?
I don't know. Yeah,
The cup and sauce,
Yeah, we just
whatever it might
we
be.
just play now. Like all our guys, we're just going to play.
But how do you approach that? Because theoretically, in the games that you've already played so far this season,
Yeah.
with the greatest respect to Sheffield and Edinburgh, who are in Super League for their
Well,
first
it's
year,
them who suffer now.
and who are developing,
Yeah.
they don't want to play you, I assume, because they would have been happier playing in a tournament of 3 that they had a chance of maybe even winning the thing.
And I know Edinburgh were gearing up for this bottom 3 to really go after Hull.
But how do you approach it? Do you go easy on them and say we'll play our reserves, or do you just go no, we need to keep our Super League
So we
team
spoke
together?
about it, and we're playing another Super League team in a Super League comp, so we're treating it like another Super League game. So
Which again, the unintended consequence of this decision is those games are going to be uncompetitive. So
Yeah.
how does that help anyone?
yeah, it don't help anyone. You're at the stage now where, with the split, the only 2 competitive games you've really got is Halifax, London, Sheffield, Edinburgh. They're the only 2
Who
kind
played
And
this
that's
weekend?
all-
Yeah, who played like they're like after the split, they're the only 2 like competitive games. So we did the split before in 2022, but unlike this time where it's just a bit, nah. Like then we had 7 teams in Super League, played each other once, then you split to a top 4, then your top 4 played each other again home and away. So you played 12 fixtures, like 12 pretty competitive fixtures, and that's when you got league leaders after 12 fixtures. So it was a really good way to do it, where you fast forward 3 years, you play 6 games to decide who gets league leaders, then you play 1 more game each. So,
I mean, I like the neutral venues idea because
Yeah, we
you're
did
trying
that,
to sell
yeah.
the sport.
Yeah.
So I get that. But I'm going to throw it over to you.
It's not like Rugby League to create a new format.
What, during the season?
At least we've still got games to
Tinker
play.
with the format.
So I don't know if you've read Steve Mascore's Set of 6, which is back. Hooray.
No.
Who's playing
isn't
at
it
the end
just a
of the
chicken wing
programme?
but a different name?
No, because chicken wings just got.
It's a chicken wing without the potential defamation.
Yeah.
Don't-
In it today, Steve has said, what's happened to wheelchair rugby league, the profile thereof. As a fan of the sport, we're too close to wheelchair rugby league because we support it wherever we can.
Which is appreciated.
What do you think is the current profile of wheelchair rugby league, bearing in mind that we won a World Cup
Very low.
3 years ago?
I have no idea when fixtures are, where fixtures are, who's winning, who's at the top of the table, who's not.
I mean, I was just
But
about
I
to say
don't-
they're
you
not on
know,
the BBC website, the results from
Yeah.
Saturday. So that's,
And I don't subscribe to our league. I don't get a rugby league newspaper. So if I want to seek it out, I'll be able to find it, obviously. But that's not. It should be front and centre, shouldn't it?
And do you think that's a wasted opportunity,
100%.
considering, because we've talked about this a lot, that
Well, I
in
think-
very rugby league fashion, we could only have won one World Cup. If we're being totally honest, the women did fantastic to get to a semi-final and were brilliant against New Zealand. The men should have got to the final, but we never thought they were going to beat Australia. Just getting to a final would have been fantastic. But the wheelchair was always going to boil down to it's either England or France in the final. But I don't know if there was ever a plan at the Etihad for what happens if we win a final. But it seems to me that the profile, not the number of participants, which, you know, I think in our magazine it says we're just behind wheelchair basketball, which is an amazing thing, and we're giving opportunities to women, and every club now has got a development team, and there's more kids playing. So participation, not got an issue with.
Yeah.
Why didn't we have a plan at the end of the World Cup as to how we would promote people like you and get to a point where...
Well, I did it for a living for 4 years. I was literally the ambassador for the whole sport for 4 years. And then that's, I think, what upsets me the most, is I spent 4 years working for the World Cup as an ambassador, working with all these people who were so good at what they did, so driven, so bold, creative about what they wanted to do. Now we had the World Cup, and then we've just dropped off. I
was going to interrupt then, sorry.
Yeah.
Do you mind me asking, it's a personal question, but were you paid for that role?
Yeah, it's me and Jodie were the two ambassadors, paid a role, worked for the World Cup. And then, so if you think, so the World Cup, so if you use the World Cup as a line in the sand, 2023, how many games do you think we had televised in 2023, wheelchair rugby league, domestically?
It seemed to be prevalent.
We had over 12. So we had the 3 Magic Rounds that were televised every game. Then we had Sky, BBC. I think we had one other semi-final in our league. How many games do you think we had televised last year?
Less.
3. That's a drop off.
So why do you think that is? Is it? I mean, is it a cost to the broadcaster to do it?
I think it's, to put it bluntly, the management of the game. The management of the game isn't communicating to Super League clubs. So I speak to most of the Super League teams. Everyone's frustrated with how the game's been managed. No one's talking to clubs. No one's listening to clubs. Any club that tries to push something forward is shut down. And you've got like decades of experience in the wheelchair game, decades of experience in rugby league, decades of experience in disability sport, for the foundations, and none of it is getting even consulted on how we should progress. Every coach I speak to wants way more games. So now there's max 10 games in the Super League season. 10. We used to play that before we even got to playoffs.
But why is that? Because are there more teams now than there were before, or changing structure?
No, because there's the same amount of teams in Super League, 7 teams. So it's the same.
There's different teams.
There's different teams,
But in terms of the amount of games.
Yeah,
but do you have any idea why as a competition they're playing fewer games? Is that due to
no, because nobody talks to us.
Right, okay.
As a
So
club.
it's not, players haven't been consulted, clubs haven't been consulted to say there's too many games.
No, you just get dictated what's happening, and then you're like, and then the season starts so late. So the season started in June this year, which is way too late to build any like momentum.
Well, it also doesn't give you too many gaps in the schedule to rearrange games if you needed to rearrange.
So if we'd have if the season had started, so the season used to start in like April. If we'd have started all the way back then, and then this thing with Ewan's wedding came up, we'd have just rearranged the fixture like we used to do. We did this I played this game for 10 years, been involved for 15 years. We would just rearrange the fixture, but the drop off, not the participation. There's more clubs than ever. We are the best in the world at what we do, like team wise. But the top of the spear, where our best players are, is dropping off massively. Like every year we're playing less games. We've gone from 12, 10, 8, 6, and that's just to decide who gets league leaders. 6 games to decide who gets league leaders. Used to be 12.
So in terms of, I mean, that's the domestic season.
Yeah.
I'm equally as interested in international.
Yeah.
Because obviously the World Cup was, the hype around it was fantastic.
It was amazing.
The scheduling of
the
men's games, women's games, wheelchair games meant that you were attached to this World Cup for the full 3 weeks it was on. And there was barely a day when, we had a men's game yesterday, but it's the wheelchair today. And there were mismatches. And, you know,
it's inevitable.
It's almost like the Women's Rugby Union World Cup. Nobody cares.
No.
But for me, we don't seem to be reporting as much on international games. So the Celtic Cup goes on. England are in some kind of a dispute with France, but and you don't want to overplay that fixture.
No,
because it's the two
a
best
special
teams.
game. When you play France, it's special.
But could we have had a mid-season international fixture? I know that it's the same argument a little bit about the women's game, that if you put England at their very best against Wales at their very best, or Scotland at their best, or Ireland, the way they are in their development phases at the moment wouldn't be competitive. Did we miss the opportunity? Have we missed the opportunity post World Cup to have a defined England game in the middle of the season, and stuff at the end of the season, perhaps involving France even before we go to Australia international.
It is tricky because, like you said, they're not competitive apart from France, but I wouldn't care. I'd like just play internationals because then the other teams are getting exposure, like the other home nations are getting exposure as well. Like we used to do that, so we've played countless Four Nations tournaments, countless Tri-Nations tournaments. Just get games in there regardless, like home nations, whatever it takes.
That's the interesting thing about the women's.
Well, England played
women's
Wales.
game. England played
Yeah.
Wales. England won easily, but
Yeah.
S4C wanted to cover it because it's an international game.
It's what brings the international whole thing that comes with it. And even if you are playing Wales, like as an England international, like I've played them loads, you still get that tension of this is an international fixture. I can't mess up. Like you still have that, even though you're playing a team that you've ranked higher in the rankings, you still have that. There's still a lot of nerves. It's still preparing you to play bigger teams because you're doing all the off-field stuff before the game as well, and you're singing the national anthem, which that can make or break some players sitting out there.
And international probably has greater cut through than club.
Yeah,
Of course.
In the general public.
yeah,
I mean, what about, for example, the USA, which was a great story at the World Cup.
yeah.
Everybody, I mean, they came over. They barely played. They got to a semi-final.
Yeah.
Everybody said at the time that we interviewed, we're going to go back. It's going to be the sport for veterans. That means we're going to get, unprecedented coverage very quickly.
Wales went over there.
I haven't heard anything about what's happening in the USA, but that would be a brilliant team to bring over
If you went over there,
mid-season.
if like
I know money's an issue,
Yeah.
but for sport in America, it's easier, I think, for them to get, particularly if veterans are playing it, to get access to send a team over here than for us to. I mean, the Wales players were fantastic, but they had to raise money to go. But if we had a mid-season 3-match series against the USA over here,
just something to
have
generate
we lost
interest.
all that?
Yeah.
Or is there not any wheelchair going on in the USA?
I don't think there's much going on, but they can always get a national team because their wheelchair basketball, all things are so big over there. Their wheelchair sport is so big over there. That because their country's so new, all the facilities are brand new, so they're really great to play in because they're all accessible, they're all built for it. But they have the athletes, the wheelchair athletes, and they'll be able to get a team together to come and play easy. But it's getting in. But I just think something to generate interest in national games, regardless. Like just do it. But the drop off from the World Cup has been massive, and it's like, and you just use facts and figures like how many games we've played, how many times we've been on TV, how many times now we aren't on TV. The drop off has just been like when you look at the cold hard facts of it, without opinion, it's
But
there.
participation levels are up.
Yeah, because the clubs. So when you get to the responsibility of the clubs, they're all doing a great job because the clubs are starting it. The foundations are starting clubs. It's when it goes to the Super League level that is more governed by.
So what's the governance structure? You're not on the board, Phil? No. Why did I think you were involved in wheelchairs?
Involved in
somehow?
a strategy group, but we haven't met for a very long time.
Not a strategic
Because
review
rugby
group.
league and strategy is mutually exclusive
It's our favourite word.
at any level.
The Challenge Cup in April.
Yeah.
League starts in June. Does that need to be integrated better, or
I don't know. You need to speak to the clubs, so a lot of that boils down to you need to speak to the clubs, which isn't happening because we've tried so many different formats of it. Just Super League teams
What,
involved.
rugby league trying different formats?
Just Super League teams, and then
well,
we
in
did
fact, it's the
festivals.
1895 Cup. No one knows what that is.
We've done festivals, we've done all sorts of like that. You need to have a consultation with the clubs, which isn't happening. The Super League, I speak to most. Like I said, we all talk, and I know there's 5 Super League clubs involved in wheelchair rugby league that really want change at the top. They want either new people, a new direction, start communicating, or just.
This is sounding very familiar.
It's funny. I'm trying to think where I've heard this story before.
But it needs to change because we're not nothing's changing. And in fact, I think it's going backwards. And I love this sport. Like it's no secret what this sport did to me and how it changed my life. But we need to change now because it is going backwards. At the top level, the top elite level, the Super League level is just.
So, in terms of England, we've never had more training camps. The players have never been better prepared. We're going over to Australia this autumn to prepare us for the World Cup, which is in Australia next autumn. When do we next see the England team playing at home?
2027.
See, again,
Wow.
is that not a missed opportunity?
Unless we can get a mid-season test next year.
We
But
should play
against
every
who?
year.
Well,
Because the French aren't going to play us before the World Cup.
yeah, and home nations just so. A few years ago. I came up with the idea of I love the Combined Nations All Stars idea. I came up with the idea to do a Combined Nations All Stars game. I passed it up, the chain like you do.
Would that be Celtic nations?
Well, a bit whatever you
together?
can get.
Or-
Like, I'd bring in ex-international players. Like, do you know, like, so after Deck had retired from England, he would have played, and that was a year after Wigan won the grand final, where Deck Roberts was in peak form. I was like, would you join my All-Stars team? And he was like, yeah, I'll do that. So there is other things we could do. And the thing is, we pretty much knew you'd lose against the peak England team. We're number 1 ranked in the world. But it's not about that. It's about bringing the competitiveness to England, letting them experience different things and adapt in different ways. So that's another option, another idea.
And we don't know when England women are going to play either, again, which is a shambles. And all this, England's men are not playing France, and an international incident has developed because of that. And now France won't play us at wheelchair, nor the women's team, and we're left with this state of flux. We want internationals because internationals are what sells the game, as we've mentioned with the Women's Rugby Union, with the Lionesses, as we've just seen. It doesn't matter that some of the teams in those competitions are not very good, because people want to watch international sport. Is there well, there must be a value in England versus Wales, even if it's not in terms of the result, and the players may learn nothing from it, the England players.
But they will learn stuff. You learn stuff from every game. Like,
Even if you win 100...
Yeah, of course, because individuals will learn things. Like, if you're a New England player with either 1 or 2 caps and you're playing that game, you will learn things that you won't learn in just playing random games. Everyone will learn from it. Even more experienced players will learn how to lead more, or they'll learn how to... Or you're just learning different adaptations because things are happening differently, and you're building your like subconscious like playing kind of skills as well. It's like
but isn't it also about storytelling?
Yeah, look at Lewis
I'm
announcement.
Completely fed up.
It's incredible.
Every time we hear a missive from the centre, it's always like, we want to make the players the stars.
Yeah.
And then we insist on putting people out there who are anything other than players. But the best stories amongst the players that I've ever come across are wheelchair.
Yeah, absolutely.
I remember saying to you very early on, aren't you going to get injured playing this game? And you went, I've got to be injured to get in a chair.
Yeah, I know, yeah.
It's like, it's one of the best quotes I've ever heard. Yeah. And you think, if we want to tell stories, the result is secondary to telling the stories in some ways. So the fact that even if you are playing Wales and it's a high-scoring game and it's one-sided, Wales will still have stories to tell.
Yeah, of course they will. And they're building as well. So you want stronger national teams. Australia went and played New Zealand and absolutely trounced them twice. But New Zealand will get so much out of that.
And they scored a try.
But they did, yeah. Imagine
but more
being
than that, the commentary treated that with immense respect.
And how you should, because it's an international game.
Wheelchair hacker.
They spent more time training for the wheelchair hacker than they did for playing the game. But
We've got to get it right.
Because it's their first game, they're like, right, they're not going to achieve loads in doing like with limited training time. So they did a bit of basics and then went, right, let's get the hacker right, because that's the pride, that's what it means to us. And that's what people remember. Nobody remembers the score. I can tell you the score. I can tell you what the wheelchair hacker was like, because I remember that. So that's your story there. Yeah,
go viral. Which
I didn't know the context as to why France wheelchair were not wanting to play.
I think that's the story.
Well, I mean, my question there was,
might have simplified.
Was going to be around England Knights.
Just in case I get in trouble.
Whatever happened to England Knights? That's why England Knights were introduced really as a opposition for France in some ways, to create that tiered, and then whether you then have something similar for the wheelchair.
I think you just call it England though.
Yeah, because I think it's got to be a proper cap. It's got to be a cap.
We tried a Knights and we did a Knights for a bit, but then the other nations didn't treat it as a Knight, as like a Knights level game. So you didn't get caps for those games because it was a Knights game. But then they changed it to actually it is a full England game because the other nations are treated as a full international. So then you then got caps. So people suddenly got 3 caps that you didn't have. So that's the problem. Is like if we played a Knights team against other teams, those teams are Knights teams. They're full teams.
But would that be more competitive between an England Knights and a Wales or whatever?
Yeah.
I don't think you have to call it Knights.
No, I don't.
You just have to pick a team that is suitable for that fixture.
Which is what happened for the Spain game. They played
and you give them heritage numbers, and it's called England, and Wales can market it as we're playing England. Nobody outside of anyone who's got an interest in wheelchair knows if it's a full strength England team or the next tier, which is great for England because that means that they can then blood the next generation coming along. I get your point about the domestic game appears to have
the Super League.
The profile has gone back. I'm equally, if not more, concerned about the international game because I just thought that World Cup win on BBC with 1.2 million viewers on a Friday night where social media was full. Even people that clearly who you follow on social media tends to be the people that you see reacting. This was people who had nothing to do with rugby league.
So me and
what the hell am I watching?
Well, I was going to say, bring back the French ref.
Right.
People would tune in to watch that.
What a great story that was.
Me and Jodie Cunningham recently did a gig for like FIFA or UEFA. That one of the staff of the World Cup team now works there. So we did like a team building thing where we're like doing Teams call, talking to them, asking me and Jodie questions and stuff. It was like getting the gang back together from like pre-World Cup. But they mentioned the match official from the final.
Yeah.
Like they mentioned it, and I was like, and everyone still remembers this pantomime villain of him just going like.
It's things like that, whether you like it or not, and the Chenade Peach things. It's things like that will cut through.
Yeah.
I feel we should almost put in like a proviso that the opinions of James Simpson-Hill are not necessarily those of anyone apart from James Simpson-Hill.
Well, no, it's not though, because I speak to the Super League teams a lot, and it boils down to there's not enough games. Every team will tell you that. There's not enough exposure. Every team will tell you that. The games, and so the Championship teams, Championship West and East, they've got 6 teams in each. They're playing home and away. So the 2 Championship divisions are playing more games than the Super League. With one less team, they're playing more games than the top of our sport.
So how many teams are in the Super League?
7.
7, and you played 6 games.
Yeah, and now we've gone into like a playoff where there's like 3 rounds. So totally, it's 9 games plus a final. So it's 10 games, a 10-game season, which is it's crazy.
Yeah, but what if you played at 9:40 yesterday morning? I'm not having that. We can't have games at 9:40 in the morning
On a Sunday.
It's only if that's when you can get the hall. That's when you can get the hall.
Oh, it makes it like ice hockey where you can only get the rink at 3 o'clock in the morning on a Tuesday.
I just find it, listening to you, James, I just find the whole thing incredibly frustrating. It's the lack of consultation and involvement where people get frustrated, and that's where you lose whilst participation numbers have increased, but that's where ultimately you probably will lose participants over the medium term because people will get frustrated. And if you don't create a consistent pattern of fixtures that replicate year on year,
start so late. Like when you say if we finish in like a month and we don't start again till this year, like June plus the Challenge Cup, so you could say like May time. The players that break over winter, especially if the younger players like future talent, getting them back in.
Yeah, like, completely.
Because they're like they've
people
gone
find other things to do.
Yeah. Or they're just like then keeping them. And you could be like, well, just keep going all year, and you're like, well, that's quite a lot to put on some people to just keep them chugging away, and it's expensive to keep a hall booked for however long all year round. So it's because you start so late, people do. They're like, oh no, it's June, I'm going to go do this, I'm going to go do that.
Would it not make more sense to revert to a winter?
Don't even get me started.
Sorry.
It's a good question.
There is a
It seems a common sense thing, when you're playing in a sports hall.
There's
we
a
haven't
lot
really
of
had
people
many games called off for a frozen indoor
But it's like,
pitch.
you just got to spectators. Like, how many times have we fought against the
What
Sportsman for views? Or we haven't got TV there. So all the women's games at the moment are on the Sportsman, aren't they, now? So that's something we won't get because all the women's games are on the Sportsman. Where you're in winter, you've got a sports hall that's bone dry. Nobody's using the Sportsman kind of cameras and things. So then you're in there. Fans, if it's a Saturday or a Sunday in June, July, August, they're going to go watch Running Rugby League 'cause it's glorious outside. If you're sat home with your kids, it's absolutely belling it down, it's miserable. I'll take them to this nice warm sports hall where I can get a broom and can watch some indoor sport. So, like, a lot of people I speak to want a winter sport, want it to go to the winter sport, and I know there's stuff that comes with it, but consult the clubs, ask the clubs, ask the people involved, foundations, what they'd say.
How would that impact on a World Cup?
Well, you'd have to just juggle it. You'd have to consult, speak.
But
talk,
now the World Cups have
figure it
been
out.
split, which I think is
Yeah,
daft.
you can have them.
2017, we had the World Cup in July because it was the festival of the World Cup. So then that was like mid-season. We all went to South France in July and it was hot as balls.
I think it's a technical term. I think what's good is, regardless of which, I don't want to say side of the divide. That
There isn't a divide. There's just
no, that's too dramatic. But whichever way your view is, there are lots of people who are very passionate about this element of the sport, want it to be whatever they want it to be, and it's just a matter of. I think we'll have to offer a right to reply to.
Well, I don't think that people at the very top of the game who allocate funding see the value in this, because for me, and that's why I've been passionate about it ever since I first saw it. Apart from the fact I think it's it's incredible watching these people play.
It is. And the stories.
It's so rugby league. It's not like it's an adaptation. It is rugby league. The thing about, if you start from a relatively low base but you fund it, your gains are incremental. The running game for the foreseeable future is going to be what the running game is. Whether we have a London or whoever, it's going to be what we've always had. It's if we can get some more money out of a television broadcaster, that's great. But the running game is not going to change. We're not going to get a blueprint in the next 6 months that's going to say, actually, we're going to have teams in Dublin and Toronto and whatever, and it's suddenly going to look different and feel different. But the wheelchair game can do that. It doesn't have to follow the men's footprint.
In the same way as women's, and derivatives of sport, it's like women's football poses a greater risk to rugby league than...
Yeah. But if we said to whoever is in charge of allocating funding, you've got a product here. You can roll that product out anywhere in Great Britain. It will be rugby league. It might not be a Super League that's going to look like it does at the moment until maybe 2 or 3 years' time when other people have had the chance to play it and get really good at it. But what you might have when we sat here in 2030 is a wheelchair Super League that is genuinely national. And that's not that difficult to achieve, but it does take just a little bit of focus away from the men's running game in particular to just say, we've allowed this to drift. Won't take a lot. We can go to broadcast and say we're negotiating a new TV package. As part of that package, we want to offer you a Super League game every week. If you want to put it on a Wednesday at midnight, that's fine.
Yeah.
Record it, but as long as you put it out regularly, we can give you competitive games throughout the summer and or winter, whichever. But the fixture list might look like something like Tottenham Hotspur against Glasgow Rangers, because we've sold to their foundation the idea of a wheelchair option that they don't have at the moment. And I just think we're being really short-sighted about the value of wheelchair. And it can be in any... I mean, you've seen the objectives of the Strategic Review Group, and wheelchair is given high priority. How are you going to achieve that?
Was it on that PowerPoint?
What's the plan?
It's on that Santa's list.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It takes, unfortunately, everything takes money, doesn't it? Yeah. But it also takes passionate people.
Yeah, but my
involved,
point is not a lot of money.
No.
Get a huge...
Most of the money spent in wheelchairs is spent by the foundation and the clubs as well.
Yeah.
So actually, the money would go on media promotion, central chucking some central venues.
And if you go to Sport England, this is what they want to fund.
Yeah. Cool.
But what would be great is, and the games, I'm told in the chat, are going to be televised this autumn, which I'm going to assume is on streaming, which is fine because everything's going to be on streaming one day.
It is the future.
Because we need to see games. London stream their games. I don't know if any other clubs stream their games. Sheffield put a highlights package out this morning. Sheffield, and this goes back to the Women's Super League as well. If Sheffield can put up highlights of their wheelchair team and their women's team on the Monday as a club that are not professional, semi-professional, whatever you want to call them, and the women's and the wheelchair aren't, if they can do it, why can't other clubs? And that's
why can't the sport?
Because it takes someone to do it.
No, but
and we haven't got anyone to do it. I don't know.
But if it's a small allocation of resource,
because all the games are recorded,
because
you've told me you're going to send me some stuff and we're going to make something. But I don't know. I don't know why we don't have here's all the tries in the wheelchair Super League this week, which might not be a great idea.
The best tries,
yeah.
I remember when we had 2019. We played the Challenge Cup final in Sheffield, and Jodie scored. And it went on. It was on. I can't remember what channel it was on, but it went on the Try of the Week thing, and it won. And Jodie Boyd Ward is still the only wheelchair rugby league player to win the Try of the Week, and that was in 2019 because it was televised and it made it onto the Try of the Week. And that's the only one, and that's like 6 years ago now. I
still can't believe I missed Edinburgh's try when I went all the way up there. But that's,
well, we're playing them in 2 weeks if you want to come watch.
Well, I might. I've got the weekend off now because I was supposed to be working, but I've swapped a shift, so I could come to Hull. I might come to Hull. I might come because it's the week before the grand final as well, so it'd be perfect to speak to the finalists before the final.
You could speak to the finalists tomorrow.
Well, I mean that's true as well. that is true as well. But I'm supposed to be trying to sort something. I don't. At least if I meet people in person, it's easy to say, right, you come and speak to me then.
I'm just looking at your hand, Phil. Does that qualify you as a...
disabled?
Yeah, does that qualify you for wheelchair rugby league? That looks like a cat injury.
That's a cat injury
there.
Trying to rescue a cat.
What was it doing?
On top of a filing cabinet.
Oh,
So we've gone 40 minutes and we've not really mentioned Chenade Peach.
Oh,
Yeah.
so is there anything else we need to mention about wheelchairs? But the right to reply is there. So I just want to.
But
say
I'm
that.
not even sure. It's a divided
No,
question.
no,
I think
no,
all
just-
we've
no, but-
posed is
yeah,
like
just-
what is happening to wheelchair rugby league.
But
so.
it's all. I just want to say it's always there, because as opposed to when we slag off other people, and because we haven't slagged off anyone there. But when we say Warrington are rubbish, I'm not saying there's a right to reply for Warrington to come on the programme, because I can't be bothered, not interested, not interested, because they are just rubbish. You can pick on Warrington, you see, because they.
I think we might do soon.
Yeah.
Well, their last wheelchair thing, they're not wheelchair
no.
teams not joining. It's common knowledge now, but their wheelchair team isn't joining Super League next year now.
So there's going to be. You're not going to know if there's going to be 7 teams or 8 teams.
There could be 4 for all I know. Nobody knows. Like,
We'll worry about that next year. But it would be interesting to see how Australia have developed, because we know England will win both those Test matches and the 2 games against New South Wales and Queensland. Be interesting to see how far they've developed from what we saw from them in the World Cup and those games against New Zealand, and see where they are.
Be interesting to know once whoever's going is over there whether the NRL have taken an active interest in wheelchair, because it's always been something separate.
well, their state of origin is not allowed to be called state of origin.
But,
Well, the women's wasn't for years, was it?
but
as
they're
well, so-
they're hosting this World Cup, and wheelchair is an integral part of it. So it'd be really interesting to see.
They've brought someone in to do like a strategic review. They brought someone in to like
Called Nigel.
well, to
Not
deep
in
dive it all.
Australia.
I think he's come on to like deep dive it all. He's a dual international, like rugby player. I can't remember his name, but he's doing it up until the tests this at the end of the year. I think at the end of the year he'll be like, yes, no, this is what we need to change, or something going forward.
I would say though, if anyone from the Rugby Football League is watching this programme, the only result on the RFL website from Saturday's Super Round is Edinburgh's win over Sheffield, and the other 2 results aren't there.
Which
So that's not very good, is it? I can tell you that Wakefield lost to Bradford, but I can't tell you anything about the other 2 games, which is a real shame. And it's not on the Super League website, it's not on the BBC website, so I can't tell you anything about those games. But Halifax won and London won.
Yeah.
So that is what it is. Now, Women's Super League happened this week. Wigan beat Barrow 92-0. So that's that out of the way. Eva Hunter's now scored in 13 successive matches. And I got the wrong Hunter sister last week when I made the video of here's the people who could win Woman of Steel. And I mentioned her sister, but I did mean Eva. Lee 20, Huddersfield 20.
Which again, if you put
That's good.
teams of similar
Yeah.
ability together, you get exciting games.
No, Kelsey Jennings, yeah, she's not playing yet. And St Helens
England
8.
international signs for Huddersfield.
Yeah,
Kelsey
exactly.
Jenkins.
And St Helens 8 in York 8. What a game this was. Let's talk about the game first, because then it's chronological. And not that I can remember much of the game.
I think you're the only one of us that's seen
Not
the
that I can
game.
remember much of the game, because it's all about the last minute. York take the lead 2-0 just before half time with Rhiannon Marshall kicking
2-0?
goal. Yeah.
It's good, isn't it?
It's 0-0 up until like the last minute before half time. Then they score a try. Savannah Andrade, she's really good. I mentioned that last week. Saints come back, and they're winning 18-8. Someone scored in the corner.
Which
It might be
is-
Phoebe Hook, because she scored 2
Let's
tries.
just say it's a great result for
Oh,
Saints.
yes.
So York had beaten Wigan the week before. Saints now beat York, and it sets it up for Saints and Wigan
Friday
on
night.
Friday, which
Well-
is on Sky Watching.
I'm hoping that there's going to be lots of build-up this week, and we'll hear from all the people from these 2 clubs going into this big game across the media. I just want to say that.
I don't think you will.
I know we won't. So that makes it bloody pointless, doesn't
They've
it? But
included the women's games in this whole like last
the
charge.
last charge,
But
yeah.
they've included all the women's games in that, so all the media's still got that like the hashtag
Last
last
charge,
charge. It's all
yeah.
one big thing.
It's good, isn't it?
So what happened in the last minute?
Well, Phoebe Hook scored a try, so she scored 2 tries, and Shona Hall did some dancing after. She's got to crank that dancing, because it's going to come back and bite them on the backside again. But York are an interesting team. Yeah. And I get the idea, I get the feeling, a bit like this team. They're not very popular with some people. So they're a bit niggly. They like to chat to the ref. This is just my perception from watching the game. It was it didn't quite develop into not handbags, because you're not allowed to say that, fisticuffs. And then in the last minute, referee gives the penalty. I think it was for offside. No one cares what the penalty was for, because no one's watched that bit. And then he sends off Chenade Peach. And then the game finished 18-8 to York. To St Helens. Well done, St Helens. And that was it.
Except it wasn't.
Except it wasn't. Because unluckily for Chenade Peach, the game was on the telly, on the Sportsman. Louis Smith, I hope he's going to spec service to get his ears sorted, because he couldn't hear what the referee said. But Caitlin Beavers certainly did. And her gasp was brilliant.
How do you think Ollie Salmon as the referee handled it?
I think what he showed was his inexperience at officiating with a microphone going out to air. Let's put it that way, because he would not repeat ever. You know, I've been involved in situations where I went from refereeing Wigan against Hull and there was a racist allegation between players. I've been involved in a situation where it was Bradford, and I'm trying to remember the name of the team. It might have been Hull KR, and there was an allegation, and it involved a player called Cox, and it was to do with a biting allegation or a grabbing allegation. And you can imagine probably where that was.
Welcome to Carry On 4020.
So I had to be really careful about how I worded that one, but I just said there'd been an allegation about improper language or something, inappropriate language. So I'm sure he and many other referees will have learned that lesson, because when I saw on Facebook yesterday, it was on Lad Bible, it was on Sport Bible,
NRL Roast,
all
the way down there.
Like everywhere, all media outlets that don't cover rugby league even have picked up on it. I'm just wondering about what the IMG points are that York gain from this.
Which is a great
Maybe
question.
this is a huge ply.
That they've got 17 million that they can have. Can we have another 0.25?
Well, the problem is I've got loads of them on our account, so they can't have those. I mean, you say, it's inexperienced from the official, but he's playing a blinder here because he's given us all the content we want. And, first things first, and yes, don't condone it, but it was bloody funny, because no one says shagging anymore, do they? No one says that. You come into the studio and say, it's funny, isn't it, swear? So that bit's funny. But it's like an onion, and we're unpeeling it, and there's all these layers of this utter mess. And we'll start with this point. You can't question the integrity of the referee, can you?
No, which is what she's done, and she was rightly sent off. It wasn't handled appropriately by the referee, but ultimately it was the right outcome.
So
but I agree, it was funny.
What's a fitting punishment? Because she's obviously going to be in front of the disciplinary on Thursday. Everybody's saying, it could be a grade D or an E, or
what's that like?
Should
6 games.
It could be something to
Something
6.
like that. She's questioned the integrity of the referee, so
which needs to be punished.
Equivalent of saying that he's cheating. So that she hasn't used the cheat word. I'm going to say the C word, but that no, she hasn't used the cheat word, but it's up there with that, So I don't know. I don't know what the precedent, if there is in the women's game. Whether
there was a player banned a few years ago for calling a referee not very good. That's not a direct quote, and they got 6 games.
They don't play enough games.
But that also
to get
wasn't.
6 games.
I know this is what I mean. I don't know the context. I don't even know how many fixtures there are in their competition.
2 regular season fixtures left, and then into the playoffs.
But how many fixtures do they play across the competition?
14.
So if you ban somebody for 6 as a percentage of the season, compared to a Super League men's player that's been banned, say, for 5 or 6 games, then proportionally against 27 games, you'd be looking at something more like 2 or 3, wouldn't you?
I was going to say, if there was internationals at the end of the year, which there isn't, Chenade had a high chance of playing in the internationals.
Would you make an example of her, or would you say
He just gets banned by the gang?
It's a level of disrespect that needs a punishment, but we've also had fantastic value out of this comment as a sport.
No, you can't. That is completely irrelevant. You can't condone the behaviour. It's unacceptable. It only came about because the referee said what he said.
Yeah.
If the referee had said you're being dismissed for offensive language or whatever, no one would have known. It wouldn't have gone viral. It's only gone viral because of the actions of the referee. She deserves punishment. What that appropriate punishment is, there will be guidelines that will be set down as to what that be. It'll be graded, and then according to that grade, according to whatever that is in the women's game, I don't imagine it follows the suit with the men's, because
amateur. Do you factor
it comes into the community, doesn't it?
Oh, no.
Well,
it's still Super League.
I don't know what happens with players and fines, and like obviously in the Championship you get fined. It's like 7,500 quid, isn't it? Versus Super League, which is more, or 250 quid or something. So it will all be set down. I would imagine, but then there are certain grades usually with the men's game where beyond a certain grade you get automatically referred.
I know the disciplinary sits differently in Women's Super League, but should the RFL have just taken the bull by the horns and said, right, we'll sort this out ASAP. Don't wait till Thursday. Just get it done now.
I don't think you should, personally, because
No.
I think you have to follow the process. Because once you start going away from the process, then what justifies departing from the process for that, and then what happens next time when something else happens? So I think it just goes through the due process. So she will play this week, presumably, if York play, do they?
Yeah.
They actually
Because disciplinary presumably won't meet till next week for women's.
I think they're meeting on Thursday.
Or Thursday, so she'll get charged on Thursday. But then the
she'll have a
hearing will be
chance to
next week.
appeal
Yeah.
And York have already put out a statement saying how mortified they are.
Yeah, well, if York, one would imagine, will say, look, she's not selected this week. And you're almost asking, can that be counted as part of your ban? But because they'll want her available for the playoffs, won't they? Because what,
Playing
3
Barrow.
games?
York away. Oh, there you go.
Barrow Raiders away.
And there's 3 games left, is there?
2 regular season
2,
games.
and then there's whatever the structure is.
Semi-finals.
So she's
Oh,
In
the
danger
structure's
of
fine.
she's in danger of missing the
Semi-final.
final if they get to the final. I don't know. I wouldn't want to guess because I don't know what the grading criteria is.
In terms of the impact, though, I haven't known anything like this.
It's mad, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's like, I knew that before the score. I was driving back from Manchester after watching the wheelchair rugby league games and got out of my car, turned my phone on, someone put it in the group being like, have you seen this?
Yeah.
So what do you
So
think?
let's further unpeel the onion, because then it does go viral and people are talking about it and whatever, and they are, some people on the internet, not us, some people on the internet are saying, well, what if he is? Which of course he isn't, we assume.
We don't know.
And you know,
presumably
and
not.
then talking about the Saints plays in vulgar terms or whatever. And this is the whole thing that's come from one comment. That's
But isn't this the
the
modern
world
that
what
we
we
live
live in. Yeah.
The reality is it'll be all forgotten about next week.
Oh, of course, because
Because
something
people
else will
just
happen.
move on, don't they? So
Yeah.
Well,
That-
somebody needs to say it in the men's Super League, don't they?
Everyone over
In a
say that to you?
televised game.
I don't know. She'll get banned, but people saying, "Oh, she shouldn't get banned. She shouldn't be made an example of." Well, she's got to be banned by the rules of the thing because she's broke the rules.
Yeah.
You can't question the integrity of the referees. Is that the worst thing we can do to you?
well, depending, you could physically assault a referee. I
All right.
suppose that's probably worse.
Well,
That's
apart
happened
from
to other
physically
referees.
assaulting you, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, to question the integrity of a referee is it's a red card offence, isn't it? If you're suggesting that he's cheating, referees don't cheat. That's simple as that. Unless you're the French referee in the wheelchair World Cup
Oh,
final.
it's going to sue us now. Oh no.
He never
I
got
don't-
banned in France, you know. He only got banned internationally, never got banned in France.
Oh, he did the cup final, didn't he? Yeah. Don't where someone ran over someone's head.
It's the only example I've seen which.
That should have gone viral. Someone being run over in a wheelchair cup final in France. That was brilliant. Yeah, as you say, people will forget about it soon enough. But we are a sport that's condoned the Mick Morgan commentary for years and said, "Oh, this is hilarious," and that is someone calling out a referee for a decision.
Yeah, but he's not a player, is he?
Well, no, but
Commentator,
it's still
it's a club commentator at that as well, not a.
We're still happy to promote that as, "Oh, look at rugby league, aren't we funny?" And you know,
And it's also of an age, isn't it?
the olden days. Need rest to do this more to raise the profile of the game, says Paul. Another Paul says we just need rest to control the games, and with look, nobody will remember who they are, which would be good. Again, as you said, James, this will be forgotten about soon. Something else will happen in tennis or something. Oh, basketball.
Well, it's a bit like the tennis player that smashed his racket to bits, isn't it? That went.
Oh, they're really bad. The tennis players, they get away with
With the
known for
photographer that came on the court though, or something. You know, it's stuff like that people latch onto because it's unusual. So we need something unusual to happen in the Super League Grand Final or something, don't we? Or something stupid.
Someone run on and tie themselves to the posts or something. Don't do that.
No,
Don't do that. Well, Don't
suggest anything.
Don't do that. And that's the thing. It's a big thing that's happened, but actually there's nothing much to say about it because she'll get banned and that'll be it, and then we'll move on, and people will bring it up in the future because things never disappear. But most people will move on to something else because they're not interested in women's rugby league, not interested in rugby league, not interested in rugby. So it's just something funny to
We just need Ilona Mara
spend-
to retweet it.
spend 20 seconds watching. Yeah, if someone does it in the rugby union, you know,
They played a game at York, didn't they?
they did.
One of the-
They are playing
was that
games at York.
Last weekend or?
I think it's all the weekends up
Yeah.
until the. Yeah, so get on the telly. I don't know. I don't know what we do. But if all the I was not going to say this, and I'm going to say it. It's not the mainstream media. They ignore them. There's nothing to do with it. But if the rugby league dedicated media and their associated websites who ignore women's rugby league and anything that isn't men's super league for 364 days of the year and have just discovered it because of this incident with Chenade Peach, then ignore the game on Friday, which is a big game which actually has meaning on it, and don't mention it at all, well, what's on them? What are they doing? Because it is the League Leaders Shield decider in effect. If Saints win, they are the League Leaders Shield winners. In a season where we've all said, Wigan, they're great. Look at Wigan. Wigan are the best thing that's ever happened to women's rugby league. They might not win the League Leaders Shield. They might not win the grand final. We don't know.
They won the Nines, though.
They won the Nines. They did win the Nines. I was there. You were there.
You didn't get face painted, though, did you?
I didn't get no, I didn't. I had a rainbow on, and then I went to Wakefield Catlands with the rainbow still on my face. So this week's Women's Super League fixtures, which continue on Friday with that game between St Helens and Wigan. It's my computer's not working, but Huddersfield Barrow. Do you say it's Barrow York?
Yeah. Huddersfield Leeds.
Huddersfield Leeds and it's working now. Thank you. And Warrington versus on the Sunday. Sorry. And,
I saw something. I think Caitlin might be back. Beavers, or is close to being back.
Yeah, she is.
There was an interview with her saying she'll be back this weekend, though.
What was that, Caitlin on the commentary?
Yeah.
I thought it was.
Former match official Caitlin Beavers.
I think she said something. Yes, I think she might have.
Possibly. Huddersfield Leeds, Barrow York, and Warrington versus Leeds. If Warrington can be asked.
Yeah.
So, let's just put an asterisk next to that one. Because we don't know. And again, it's not about the players, it's about the club. And we have to keep banging this drum because everyone ignores it. But Warrington are a disgrace as a club because they've twice not fulfilled fixtures and they should be out of the competition. The record should be expunged. And I'm sorry for the players, but tough. That's your club. That's not my fault. It's not the RFL's fault. It's not Leeds or Saints or anyone else's fault. It's your club. Who lost to Salford on Friday? Warrington 12, Salford 25.
Which games have you watched this week?
Which games have I watched? I watched the Hull KR St Helens game. I reviewed the Catalan Wigan game. I didn't see any of the Salford game. I don't think when people had a choice to tune in, they
Not until
wouldn't have-
the end.
Although you couldn't actually tune in anyway,
No.
could you? I mean, Sky's issues this week, I just typify it at the moment, with sound problems and footage, but you couldn't tune in, I don't think, until 25 minutes into the game.
Because you got the black box thing, you just wouldn't
But there's something seriously wrong at Warrington with that as a result. Not without taking anything away from Salford.
Matt Duffy's back though, so he must have paid his penance. So that was good, and he scored a try. And Salford won, despite being a ragtag bag of people who just turned up on a bus.
I mean, the thing about Salford is they played their 71st player this season.
So they're getting so
And
close.
they've won is it
so
close to
close.
72, is it?
Yeah.
They need two more to
Two
break
more
the
to
record.
beat it.
Come on, Salford.
Some of the players who came in were clearly the stars of that game. Jack Walker apparently was fantastic. But what does it say about where Warrington are? So I think, we already said at the beginning of the programme, it's a real shame for Salford that Kurt Haggerty, who was going to be the coach next year, has now walked away. I understand from the statement I briefly saw before the show started that, again, he is one of the victims of what's going on. He needs to look after his family. He needs to know he's going to get paid on a regular basis. He's taken a job that may not exist next year, head coach of a club that we don't know what division they're going to be in, or even if they're going to exist. There's the HMRC hearing on Wednesday. The bridging loan, as far as we know, hasn't yet come in, so they can't go to.
No.
Well, it may have done.
Have the
I mean,
players
they
been
wouldn't
paid?
tell us.
They have.
Players have been
Right.
paid, but they're going to have to go to the High Court on Wednesday unless it's adjourned and say, we told you we were going to get this bridging loan. It's still on its way, or it has arrived, or whatever. But the uncertainty around that, Kurt Haggerty, who I think will get picked up by possibly even a club that may end up in Super League from the Championship. His pedigree is good, very good. So all of that is the Salford story, and to win a game under the duress that club is at the moment is just astonishing. The pictures of Paul Rowley stood in front of the fans should have gone as viral as Chenade Peach, but we don't live in that world. And it's brilliant. And I take my hat off to Salford, because the 300 odd fans that were at Warrington were fantastic. But I don't know what to make of Warrington. Is this the new low that I only saw when the final whistle went, because obviously we were watching St Helens and Hull KR, because it would had ramifications at the right end of the table. And when I turned over and the final whistle went, the Warrington players were all just stood still. They weren't consoling each other. They knew there was going to be approbation coming from the stands behind them. They were going to get booed off. They played, I think, 3 debutants. I don't know psychologically how being involved in that atmosphere and in that game is going to affect them. Can it get any lower? And what did you make of Stuart Middleton's statement after the game?
Hindsight's 2020.
I didn't watch it because, like, why would you? But I don't know if you can get. It's tricky, isn't it? Because you've just been beaten by the team who can't beat anyone. So on that sense, you can't get any lower, like, rankings wise. You've literally been beaten by the bottom. There's nowhere lower than that. But is it more pride now that's going to get lower? Is the players? Is there going to be things where they turn out and they're just, I don't know, like, the commitment starts to go? Like, you don't mind if sometimes people lose if the commitment's there.
Which it wasn't there the week before.
Is it going to get even worse though? Is that what's going to get worse? Is the level of, like,
you can't sustain it for 80 minutes.
I just thought the statement by the chairman saying I'm going to get everybody in on Monday and get to the bottom of this is part of the reason why there is an issue at Warrington. And I've never met him, I've never spoken to him, I don't know what job he is doing, but when the person who is in charge says I'm going to find out what's happening, my instant reaction is, why don't you know what's happening?
Yeah.
This hasn't happened just on that 80 minutes on that game. This has been something that's been bubbling up all year.
Well, years.
Well, I think
there's, like, years, because obviously Darryl Powell came in when, like, this isn't.
It's about whether Sam Burgess should be coach. I think it's about why was Sam Burgess appointed coach. What was the
because
process?
Because he's famous.
But isn't that the issue at Warrington over the years, which must come from the top? That if your priority is getting people in who are going to sell season tickets and who are famous, isn't that where part of the problem is, that you never build a culture, you don't build I mean, you're a coach, I don't know what culture is, it's a word that's thrown around. You don't build a team or a philosophy if you're constantly changing and just bringing in names for the sake of bringing in names. Isn't that at the door of the people that run the club rather than whoever the coach is at this particular moment, whoever the players are? Because the coach and the players have been recruited to a certain template.
Someone said, this is what we want this coach and these players.
So when the guy who is in charge of the club as the chairman says, I'm going to hold an investigation, I think it's like,
you should know
the horse is over there, you're just bolting the gate.
But, I go back to Powell. The decision to get rid of Powell, they made a decision to bring him in. He quickly left. That's a knee-jerk reaction, in my opinion. That was always going to be a painful process, bringing in a new coach like that. That it was going to be for a long-term process, 3 to 5 year project. And he lost the dressing room. That was clear. So who wins? Either the coach wins, or the players win.
I think and again, I don't know the details because it's not a club that I know intimately. But apparently he wanted to make change, and I think he would look back and say I maybe wanted to make change too quickly.
Yeah.
And I maybe upset particularly the senior players by telling them what I wanted from them rather than do it more as a process of moving towards that. And that became, for whatever reason, untenable.
But are those players still there? The ones who were like, we're not changing.
Some aren't.
Some have left.
But if some of the players are there who are like, we're not changing,
and
still
some
there,
have kicked on at other clubs and some have disappeared.
But that comes back to the thing of culture.
But also, isn't that something that's got to be managed by the people at the top?
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, it has to.
And do they not have to support their coach, and just maybe say we agree with what you're doing because that's why we employed you in the first place? We think the methods you're using to get to where you want to be, would like to talk to you about how we're going to manage that. Yeah. Because the other thing that I clearly is in Warrington's favour, and it's probably the only thing that is at the moment, is their academy team and their reserve team are fantastic, virtually unbeaten.
Well, cause I did this, the academy origin, didn't I? And I was at the Lancashire team, and they've got players there, like future England halfbacks and stuff playing in that academy team. who are
And
going to go
don't-
on to be fantastic.
And don't you build around that rather than continually recruiting people that fit a template of profile but not sustainability?
I would. Yeah.
Everything always seems to be about publicity. The signing of Greg Inglis was about publicity because he'd
Andrew
retired.
Johns played for 3 games.
But he's a legend. You know, here's Ben Westwood doing something daft again this week. Here's Wolfie doing something. Here's the Wire Flyer. Here's the Luke Littler Stadium. And missing the fact that you need to actually build a team. Because all the gimmicks in the world don't matter if your team's no good.
I think some teams get too afraid to go through a transition, because they always want to be like,
And
they get too afraid to be like,
but
right,
the
we've
other
got to
thing
invest in
is,
youth
it's
now.
a fan pressure. Because if you keep saying that your goal is to do something you haven't done for 70 years, there's a reason why you haven't done it for 70, but you're putting undue pressure on the whole process. Because the buy-in is, we'll get to a point where not only do we win it, but we're capable of winning it for 4, 5, 6, 7 years. But if you never get to the bit where you can start to win it...
That's the point with Powell. But yeah, he made mistakes himself and he's admitted that. But it was always going to be a painful process. They were not a successful side, so you're coming into a team to change it. You know, okay, winning Challenge Cup's fine, but actually the goal's to win Super League. So, and that's week in, week out, isn't it?
People will say it took them from, was it 4th under Steve Price to down the bottom end of the table?
That was in the second year.
It was very, very funny. Was asked about going to Castleford this week, and he said that they wouldn't, and this is paraphrasing, go and watch the video, they wouldn't go with the same mindset that Warrington had against Salford. I thought that was very, very funny. Paul, I stole your point. Problem in Warrington, they have great players in the academy for some years now, but would rather bring in big name players past their best because it gets headlines rather than those young players. And the problem is with the headlines is they don't cut through to anyone. It's only us. We're only reading about Salford making these big signings, and I joke about it. But you know, these lads that get into bothering the NRL at the minute, they'll be. You can say, they'll be signing for Salford because that's for Warrington because that's what they always do. Even if they don't, that's the reputation they've got.
Chris Sandow's been sentenced to 3 years in prison today. Who did he play for when he was over here? And I'm not saying he didn't do a job over it, but it's like you have to be very careful if you want to create a culture about the people you bring in. It's not about talent. It helps if they're very talented. It helps probably more if they can actually impress upon the kids that are coming through the way to be a professional.
Thanks to Tim, by the way, who points out that there was another player sent off for dissent this weekend. Ben Reynolds for Featherstone Rovers against Sheffield. Who was the referee in that game?
James Child.
Tara Jones.
Oh.
So we don't know. I mean, obviously we shouldn't. Paul did change a lot, which is why their academy is so good now. But that's 5 or 6 year project. Just talk to Leeds about that, says Paul. Yeah, Leeds in crisis.
That can't be true. I don't think Powell's influence on the academy in the space of how long. I don't even know how long he was there. The 18 months he was there. Can't see that. Bringing through an academy and a whole structure that takes years.
Yeah.
But the person who brought through the Warrington Academy isn't there either. Because John Bastian then went to
Leeds.
Leeds. And again, look at the talent that is coming through at the moment.
So Salford's biggest fixture is this week on Wednesday, and then we'll work out what happens from there.
Nothing Salford do between now and the end of the season on the field is going to top the feeling that they got at Warrington on Friday night, and is going to be as important as potentially being in the High Court on Wednesday. So I think Salford,
I love that like Dirty Dozen.
Yeah,
Just that like getting all these players together, Dirty Dozen style. We're not even really gonna. Just go out there and express yourself. Don't worry about. We're not gonna do all these fancy shapes.
It
Just go out there
shouldn't
and
be
express
great,
yourself. And
but
then,
Wakefield's team in 2001, which was very much a bunch of ragtag people, and Willie Poaching and Brad Davis and people who could play, but a lot of and the fact that they stayed up on the final day and Huddersfield went there. That's one of my favourite teams, even though there was a lot of very rubbish players in there. But it's great memories of pitch invasion. So then you go on the pitch invasion, and then you go, and then it's like the Grimsby fans the other day. Then you're on there, you think, what do I do now? I'm on the pitch.
That was like that Castleman that ran onto me at Salford and got all the way from the corner of the field to the scrum, and I thought, where am I going to stand? I better stand in the middle of the scrum.
Oh, you get a reputation doing things like that, James. Don't do that.
but I think you look at people like Rowan Milnes, who they brought in, who was sort of drifting a little bit, and I think Paul Rowley's genius in getting the best out of people that literally are introducing each other in the dressing room before the game. It's like all of a sudden it's just go out and play.
Because there's no pressure, is there?
We know you can play. You got one of the best kicking games in the league. That's all I want you to do. And suddenly the freedom that they're playing with, it's a great result. It's a vindication of Paul Rowley's methods. I wonder with Kurt Haggerty now leaving where that leaves Paul and in the long term. I just don't think it matters. That result is everything for that team this year.
I don't want James to get in trouble. Do you want to go now?
What time have you got here?
You've got stuff to do.
Okay, at 30:30.
Well, we can get the rest.
We're finishing season 2 of Stranger Things tonight, so I need to
Oh,
come
you're
back for
way
that.
behind.
Well, we're redoing it before the next
Oh,
series
I
comes
see,
out. Yeah.
right.
Because Lee Castleford, that'll take 5 seconds. Lee won. Castleford are rubbish. So,
I watched that.
Did you? Why?
Because it was a waste.
Oh, no, I
of
think
80
I did.
It was a waste of 80 minutes.
Yeah,
wasn't it?
it?
I mean,
Lee are good,
Lee are now hitting a bit of. They beat the top 3. They were up there.
Yeah.
They lost a couple of games and looked as though they'd lost their direction. They got a bit of it back in the second half against Salford. They were just too good for Castleford.
Yeah.
Castleford are already planning for.
See, I'm now getting complacent ahead of Friday. The team not, but I am. But it'll be all right.
Well, Tom Amone's gone, hasn't he? So
Yeah.
I'm not seeing a lot that Castleford can offer.
We knew Ryan Carr was coming in last week, didn't we?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's no news. Hull KR 12, St Helens 8. Every St Helens fan I've spoken to after this game, 2, were very
Both.
both of them were very proud. They weren't disheartened by the loss because they played all right. They've got no wingers. See this thing, Tristan Taylor's not a winger. Yeah, we know he's not a winger. He's playing on the wing because they've got no wingers. Although it's interesting, John Benson wasn't recalled from winless. But regardless, Hull KR, having had their wobble, they are now closing in on winning the League Leaders' Shield for the first time.
I'm not sure Hull KR were completely convincing.
No, I think that's fair. Because that's why some of the Saints fans were so happy, because they were there, they were in it.
And I do agree with the most of the opinion afterwards about St Helens is where are their points coming from, and that if they are going to progress and win a semi-final, there's not enough creativity there at the moment.
Is this the Jack Wellsby conundrum? Because they were playing well without him, and
No,
they can't really work out where to fit him in.
They're better with him, and he will get better because he's been off for 10 weeks, and he's come back earlier than everybody. He is a massive asset to have going into the playoffs. I just don't know if that. I love their resilience. Their defence is back to what won them some grand finals under Christian Wolf. I just don't see where they're going to get the points from. I thought Mark Percival was fantastic, by the way.
Just consistent, isn't he? Constantly.
If
And it
Saints
was
were in
a
the
great
grand final,
atmosphere.
you wouldn't be surprised. No, it was a great
It
atmosphere.
was a great atmosphere, biggest crowd since 1984. Hull KR are doing a hell of a lot right. They get the chance to win the League Leaders' Shield against Hull. They couldn't have scripted that any better for themselves. It had an intensity of a playoff game, a semi-final.
Like Saints and York in the women's.
But I just wasn't convinced that I saw enough from St Helens to think they could win a grand final.
Agreed.
Just to say something massively
Which means they
controversial.
will. Clearly.
Yeah.
That'll be Leeds Saints final.
I think the week before when they played Hull, was it the week before? I didn't think again they were convincing enough. I still think Wigan, Hull KR, Lee, and Leeds are probably the teams.
The controversial point I was going to make is, a little respect. It's getting a bit cringeworthy now. It's a bit like You'll Never Walk Alone. It's all a bit. I know the fans love it there, but to everyone else, it's a bit naff. It's a bit naff. I know much better songs by Erasure. Paul is asking about Matt Ellison's interview on another podcast. Did he raise any interesting points? We don't know.
We're doing this. We're doing this.
What podcast?
There isn't other podcast. This is the podcast.
Saw Ken Davey last week put the blame on the decline of Super League on the time taken to make video referee decisions. It's interesting that he's blaming IMG for failing at reimagining Rugby League. They've had 2 years to do their job, and he's been in charge of Huddersfield Giants since the mid-90s. Ken, look in the mirror.
Wow. It honestly, yeah.
No.
Let's just blame something external that we can't control.
Premier League
It's
football.
loop fixtures. We know it's loop
Oh
fixtures.
dear, don't even start.
Funnily enough,
That's what-
Leeds Hull KR, which was a brilliant game, was a loop fixture. And Hull KR against St Helens, which we're saying is playoff intensity, was a loop fixture.
Hull Derby. Luke fixture this week.
What, Saints Wigan?
Rivals round.
Oh yeah, it's rival round as well this week. I forgot that.
Yes,
yeah.
return
Rivals
of
round
rivals
2. Yeah.
That famous rivalry.
Huddersfield
Salford
and
Catalan.
Leeds. Huddersfield and Leeds.
Yeah.
Both of West York. That's why we've got to get Bradford in Super League, because we can't put us under Leeds as a rivalry. Another poll says the point I was making that Powell was in there to do the job of trying to bring the young ones through, and had him to do so to blood a few because he needed a few years to make a change. Instant karma seemed to get the owner rather than instant success. Both teams scored 1 try, says Ian, about the Hull KR St Helens game. Why is only Saints attack being questioned? We've scored tons of tries this month.
It's just at this time of the season, in the games where you're going to have to...
Anti-Saints.
You're going to have to come up with something that's a little bit different to break down the best defences.
Well,
I haven't seen it.
I mean, it's a fair point, but Hull KR.
No, but
having said
82
that-
of St Helens points came against Salford in the first round as well.
Yeah, and about Hull KR, I think that's 3 weeks running now. They didn't score a point against Leeds, and it was a low-scoring game, I'm sure, against Wigan the other week.
Yeah, 10-6.
They have an inability to score many points at the moment.
But I think when you watch Hull KR and you watch the likes of Tyrone May and Mikey Lewis and Petter Hiku, you can see points.
Yeah, and then you go to a grand final where you're looking for 1 or 2 players that win you the game.
I just
There's
that's
a
the
greater
bit I don't
prospect.
see at St Helens.
Agreed.
There's very talented players,
Yeah.
but I don't see a team that looks like they're going to take apart a side that's around them in the table at the moment. It will be interesting to see how they go against Wigan without Morgan Knowles, because that element of physicality that they've been so good at, he is such an important part of that. They're going to have to come up with something different. It will be really interesting to see.
Get George Whitby back in. The only thing I'm struggling to write my column this month because
You've only got
I know. But all I've got in my notes at the moment is something that I don't even understand what I've written. But also, Jenna Brooks's coat looked like something Margaret Thatcher would have worn, which is not. That's not 800 words. That's not 800 words. It's tough. Before we forget, as in Elliot Whitehead's retiring. Sam Tompkins is retiring again. Martin Callis is retiring. So
Not by choice.
I listened to his last show
Oh, I
because
was
I went to pick Stephen and Harris up from the airport at nearly 4 a.m.
Oh.
And there I was listening to TalkSport with Martin.
We should be listening
And
to
how did his last show go?
Well, I only listened to a bit of it, but it was he did a quiz 1 to 46 or something. And you had to pick a number, and then you had to guess the age of the celebrity.
How old Cary Grant?
I thought it was fantastic. Yeah.
If it wasn't for him, I wouldn't be sat here. In the Men's Super League on Saturday, Hull 0, Leeds 34. Leeds are back. Back. You were there.
Do you know what the big story was?
I know what you're going to say.
Hull
but tell
lost
the
at
people.
home again.
No, Max Simpson.
Yeah.
Not
Yeah.
that he got carried off.
How long was he out injured?
2 years?
2022.
Wow.
Wow.
Away in Toulouse, he broke his ankle.
Yeah.
In the pre-season, he did his ACL. And then coming back from his ACL, he had terrible problems with his hamstrings that meant he had to go to Sweden and have an operation.
Jeez.
So it's 3 years since he played. And he'd only played 2 halves of reserve games. So, you know, the normal, particularly Brad Arthur, where he has to, you know, you have to prove and overprove yourself to get an opportunity. He's had very little game time. And for the 65 minutes he was on, it was just such a great story. Fortunately, we you know, the word coming back is that over precaution with a potential neck injury, exactly what you want. I don't think he'll play Thursday on a short turnaround, but just great to see him back. And I don't know what you what you want me to
Well,
say.
you don't
about
have to say
Leeds.
anything else if you want.
They're absolutely dominant at the moment. Their defence is almost impregnable, and the improvisation on attack, which goes back exactly to the Saints thing, you cannot predict what Lockie Miller's going to do. You can't work out what Jake Connor's going to do. Brodie Croft is in really good form at the moment. They've got finishers on either flank. That's where they become frightening for other teams, because you can't cover what they do. The French and Field thing with Wigan is once they're both out there, it's hard to defend. When Miller and Connor are out there, you know where to look.
Telepathy. It must be telepathy.
It's
They
just fun
were
to
great.
watch. It's fun to watch.
Yeah.
They were great.
She's good.
They were really good. And again, now Hull losing a couple of props when they're already light on forwards. it's almost like their injuries have come at the wrong time of the season. I think they'll miss out on the 6, but it doesn't matter because they've already overachieved this year.
But I think the 0, innit?
Yeah.
Like 34 points, but keeping Hulton nothing. That's the big Brian Arthur thing. That just fronting up.
Having
keep 'em
conceded a try late on at Castleford when they'd scored 64, and a try late on when they'd almost shut Hull KR out, to not concede a try, that's the bit that he'll say, right lads,
That's the bit the fans
another
get
tick.
excited about. They're like, look, that's when you know they mean business. When you're like, they're just fronting up and keeping them out.
But Jake Shorrocks makes his debut and probably never play for him again. He's been banned for 2 games.
See, if we could have played for Leeds in that game at Halifax, that would have been our only game, get heritage numbers.
Yeah.
But the coach won't put us in. It's no good.
Next time.
Player welfare, we don't care. Buggered me ankle.
I argued with the cat and it won.
Just wait for them past. Go through. Go on, lads. Let's go tries. Catlands 4, Wigan 40. It's a shame Tom Tompkins came back from retirement because it's not damaged his legacy, but it's not done anything else. It's just...
I think most people will forget he came back.
Yeah, because it's not as if anything has happened that he's dropped a clanger or he's been terrible.
No, his body just couldn't keep up with his mind.
We saw that in the game at Bellevue a few weeks ago. He's there, but he's almost a passenger. But it's not. It shows more desperation on Catalans than his behalf.
You watched that. My impression was the scoreline didn't exactly flatter Wigan, but it didn't reward some of Catalan's effort.
No, I thought Catalan played better. Certainly first half. I think was it 16-0 at half time, was it? They certainly played better, I think, Catalan. 4-16, yeah, they did score before half time. I think the score does flatter Wigan a bit. I didn't think they were great, but I suppose they still put 40 points away. But the thing with Wigan is they generally peak when it matters. They probably showed some improvement in themselves, but they're not firing on all cylinders, I don't think, Wigan. But they knew
they're
they
going to
probably
have to
didn't need
this
to.
week against St Helens.
Yeah, but I think that's the thing, isn't it? That'll be the question. Can they turn it on? There's 2 interesting games this week, which are the Hull Derby and Wigan Saints, or Saints Wigan, whichever way around it is.
They've just not stopped though, have they, Wigan, for like 2 years? It's like they're just constantly being, and eventually you're just gonna.
So you can't perform week in, week out, which they haven't done, clearly. They're not going to get the League Leaders Shield, basically, I don't think, barring an impossibility.
I don't think so.
They're not going to do that.
But it's little things. I looked at Junior Sember, who obviously should be the face of English Rugby League. He's a fantastic talent. But he dropped off for about 2 or 3 months. Again, probably because you were saying he's been overplayed. But he looked like the old Junior December on Saturday night. He was a real menace for the Catalan pack. And you think, great, if we're going to be anything, yes, it's Bevan French coming back and giving them that dual option, but it's the forward stepping up. So I don't know, he was fantastic.
Phil says the Snake has to be in the Ashes squad, one of the few players who can unlock the Aussies' defence. Phil, you might as well go and bash your head against a brick wall. It's not happening.
It should be, though.
It should be, of course it should be.
Because he should be on form.
And Bevan French, if we're going to make sure he's English, or Jai Field.
And he offers versatility to a squad in terms of his position.
You can play him nearly anywhere.
Yeah.
Stick him in a
I think
and I think if you're a coach and you have a conversation with a player, whether he has or he hasn't, go and prove yourself, be consistent. I think you'd have to say he has done that this year.
If he has a bad game, it's like, well, he's not consistent. Yeah, but no player can be, unless you're a James Roby or a Liam Fowler, you're not going to be 8 out of 10 every week, are you?
I thought the interception just before half time, which effectively won the game for Leeds, was why you would have Jake Connor in an international setup, because he just read it quicker than even 12,000 people that were in the ground. And the first thing we all saw was he was going down the other end of the field. And you can't coach that.
Remind you of any other former Great Britain...
Carl Gibson.
West Ham fans who played for Leeds. And Hull. Wakefield 48, Huddersfield 2. It was a game. Oh, man alive. I think there was about 7 of us in the press box, so it was a bit quieter this week than the game against Leeds. Professional performance. Kais Fatilli going through all the people. Yeah.
It was a poor game.
What does it say about Huddersfield?
The bits I saw.
It says they spent too much money on a prop forward. They had a young lad, what was his name? Making his debut, Marshall Land. to be fair to Huddersfield's young players in there, and Luke Robinson mentioned after the game, I don't want to throw players out there because, we're not getting the ball in good positions. They had no territory in this game. It's not going to do them any good, but they had two young halfbacks there in Land and Rush who had no platform to work on, which is all down to the forwards and Wakefield's defence. I think I read a stat, Land was the second highest tackle maker in the Huddersfield team. That's disgraceful. Not for him, but for the rest of the team. You have a young halfback shouldn't be making the second most tackles in the team.
I mean, they beat Warrington and they beat Catalan. Well, neither team are playing well, are they? And I watched that Huddersfield-Warrington game and most of it, and Huddersfield were poor and still won against a poor Warrington side. So I don't think they're playing that well. They've improved, but pretty from a low base is what I would say.
What it also says on Saturday about Darryl Powell is he's not afraid to drop star players like Max Jarrett and put Josh Rourke back in the team.
Did he drop him?
Well, I assume so.
Or did he just
Did
rotate
he
him?
arrest him?
And they look a lot different without Jake Truman. When Jake Truman's in the team, they look a lot different. But that's the gamble.
Tane Mill banned for Thursday. For
The
Huddersfield.
problem with all these yellow cards at the minute is I can't work out if they would have been reds before or not, and I'm just lost. So
Reece Martin has got a 3-match ban for the tackle that ended Morgan Knowles' game. Now, part of that 3 matches is the cumulative points that you get, and somebody quite rightly made a really interesting point that you're going to end up somebody's going to end up missing the playoff series because of cumulative things they've done in the past, and somehow that doesn't seem quite right. But should Reece Martin have been sent off?
I didn't see it, I didn't watch it. So
He got grade D, didn't he? I'm trying to remember the tackle. When you watched
It was early on, about 13, 14 minutes.
Yeah, I didn't tune into the first, but I have seen the tackle.
And it was high.
Yeah, and he almost... I wondered whether he got impact on the ground as well, when his head... Because it was almost like he was out straight away when he was hit. And his head seemed to hit the floor to me. But, yeah, I don't know. Possibly.
Are you going, James?
not yet. I'll keep it 5 minutes. I've got 5. I've
You got
just
5
checked.
minutes.
Just
I
checked
don't
how
want
long
to get
it'll
in
take
trouble.
to get home.
I don't want to get in trouble.
Yeah, there's no traffic this time.
No, I just checked. It's fine.
We should as well say congratulations to Salford's women's team who qualified for the players winning away at Cardiff, and London won the Northern Championship League. Is there a League Leaders Shield?
They won't get medals.
They won't get
No,
medals.
they won't get medals. Halifax got medals this year.
I don't know.
Obviously, if they do, it's just to wind you up.
The League Leaders Shield was in the hub at Headingley last week, so I don't know, because I think everyone assumed the points would carry over like it did last time we did a split. So I don't know. I hope it did, but I hope it got to them. I hope it got to the right people in time, because the week before it was sat at Headingley still.
They'll find one. So well done to London, and I don't know who's in the place because the website's not updated.
London and Cardiff are in the playoffs,
But they
and presumably Salford
and
are as
Featherstone, and the final of that is before the women's grand final, which will be played at a venue we don't know yet. Because just pick a bloody venue, and if it happens to be one of the teams that's in it, tough. If we can get to the grand final, is Robin Park suitable for television? It's fine for streaming, but is it suitable for the grand final of the women's?
well. Isn't that why you've got to pick a venue that suits
just asking.
the broadcaster as much as the spectator?
Just asking questions. One of those people on the right wing podcast just asking questions. That's what I am. Batley 16, London 30 in the men's championship. The meaningful championship, as it's called from next season, when we haven't even talked about this because there's no point. Because we don't know what's happening.
Well, even though there was a statement about how the fixtures were going to be worked out, we couldn't work it
No,
out.
I sent a message to Phil saying, I think I'm reasonably intelligent, but I can't understand it. Can
Do
you?
it like the Champions League. Just draw all the teams and that's who you play. You play random teams. Liverpool versus
But
Real
there's a
Madrid.
standard issue, isn't there? And when you're talking about we're going to weight the fixtures depending on where you are in the hierarchy, it's like...
I don't even know what that means. Is it
What are you
like
talking
is it like Magic Weekend where they? Is it Magic Weekend where they play like 1v3 and 2v4 and
Yeah,
stuff
but
like
some
that?
years
like,
it's who you're next to. So then you will get Salford Catalans again at 3 in the
But
morning.
you want
and-
derby fixtures as well, don't forget.
oh, I don't know. There's so many.
Bradford Keighley, it's coming.
But until,
it's not. No, it's not.
until you know who's in the division,
Well, this is what they're saying, isn't it? That until they know what... But I think that's a delay tactic. Because really all you do is...
Which is another great reason why it should have been 2027.
That's too late. Because we'll have another year of loop fixtures and we don't like loop fixtures. Because Carl Fitzpatrick came on the telly and said, Jodie Cunningham, do you like loop fixtures? Getting that on a t-shirt.
In the consultation that we were all consulted and completed, we all said we didn't like loop fixtures.
Yeah.
Do you remember filling that?
Yeah.
Do you remember filling it in? No, I don't remember filling it in either.
Yours got that. You didn't like You're banned, James. You're banned now. You're persona non grata. Bradford 10 to lose 12. Oh, they're French.
It's a great result for Toulouse.
It's a huge result.
Again, it raises the question, because I think Bradford will finish third now. How do they win big games? Because the only games they've been losing have been, again, close to York, close to Toulouse. That they're going to have to get over a hurdle. Not that it may matter, but it may. Who knows?
0.25 on IMG
exactly.
points possibly won't matter that much.
Well, it could be the difference between that
So again-
12th place or going through a...
That's why York put their Chenade Peach statement out as a video rather than a thing to read.
6-second video.
Yeah.
Do you think it's interesting that North Wales Crusaders have applied to be...
Congratulations to them. It's interesting. It's bizarre.
Because I think if you're talking about strategy and new markets, they're actually a better bet than some of the teams that have put themselves forward. Now, I don't know what their financial situation is. I don't know what their support base is likely to be. But they're in Wrexham. And I think what we do know is a sporting centre at the moment that's getting loads of publicity is Wrexham.
Yeah, we don't like
You'd be knocking on their door, wouldn't you? Being like, do you want to come help us out?
We could be your summer sport.
Have a word with Sandy, because she's in with Wrexham now.
I'm just saying, I think it's interesting that some of the teams, you get the impression that they've applied earlier than they're capable of doing it because their supporters, great respect to Widnes and Doncaster. I think they needed their fans to see that they were ambitious still, but I'm not sure they're ready.
What about the Castleford statement saying we've applied?
And Hull and Huddersfield
Just in case.
Dear, oh dear.
and Salford, which again...
The point remains to me, the hypocrisy of the whole situation is that you can be in Super League and have the IMG assessment of your finances.
Correct.
But you can't be in Super League if you're not currently in Super League unless your finances are assessed through the committee. Does that make sense?
Of random people.
No, of course it
So if you're in the top, if you're in Super League at the moment, you could have shoddy finances that apparently have been previously approved through a previous system, and people have got through the net.
And your grade A.
Yeah.
Great days.
Well,
But if you're not in Super League,
Salford's
you've got to
finances
go
got
through
through
more
the
rigorous.
system.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying.
That was a Google search.
So
Thorough Google search.
how can you have anybody in any competition unless you're thoroughly checked on finances? So check everybody's finances.
I just think North Wales is a really, again, might be too early for them. But if you're serious about where you want to put teams that will have impact for the competition, Wales,
Not a chance.
ripe for exploitation, as it might say in the next issue of 4020.
Well, we'll keep talking about Wales, and someone might listen one day.
Nah.
What we'll have to do is be like Fran Goldthorpe and just accidentally whack people in the mouth.
Is that what she did?
She did. Well, she was running or trying to avoid a tackle, and Isabel Kelly ran into her elbow and lost half her teeth.
Oh.
Or it might have been Amber Hall getting involved as well. She's scary. Also in the Championship.
So no Super League games on Sunday?
No. Apparently Warrington, the Leeds 48 was in the Women's Super League. So that was good. But as mentioned earlier, they're under 19 teams played. No. Oldham 13, Doncaster 12. Oldham doing the media rounds at the minute.
Mm-hmm.
Do we want to get them on the podcast? Are we not bothered? No, I won't bother. Barrow 10, Halifax 48. Sheffield 10, Featherstone 30. Now we need to know what Ben Reynolds said to get sent off. And Widnes 40, Hunslet 12. Hunslet are asking for finance. They sent out a thing.
They're saying
It
they're
was
going to
very
change.
strange.
They're going to change their ownership model.
They were saying this new exciting championship, and it's
They're
going to be different. And
Basically looking for an investor.
I didn't understand
I thought it was
how.
owned by the
Yeah,
supporters
they're,
or something.
they're moving it out of
Okay.
the model and looking for people that want to invest in this fantastic new world of
Yeah.
a joint championship and Super League.
As opposed to the thing we had before, which had a clear path of what you needed to do to improve, rather than just being chosen by Lord Kane's magic circle of people. League One. Congratulations to the Crusaders. Beat Keighley 30 points to 16, and they streamed that game as well. So
But they were
nice.
30-0 up, so it must have been a fight back from Keith.
Yeah.
Dewsbury 40, Hurricanes 4. What's happened to the Hurricanes? Mate, it doesn't matter. Because it doesn't matter. None of it
Fallen off a
matters.
cliff,
None
haven't
of it
they?
matters.
None of it
They've got
matters.
now half.
Nothing at all. This programme doesn't matter.
They got back out of retirement. Richie Hawkeye,
Oh, I saw that.
39,
Yes, I know, I saw
and hasn't
that.
played for 3 years. So that's their halfback crisis.
Didn't a Welsh team get Gavin Henson for a season? Who was
West
that?
Wales. Yeah, but he played one game, I think, in the Challenge Cup on the BBC. Yeah.
Charlotte Church is running the water. I think.
Is that a euphemism?
I was going to say something that I thought, no, I can't.
They were in a relationship.
Yeah, they were
weren't
married. Yeah. But
that's
then they weren't.
I was quite impressed with myself then, actually, because
Yeah,
my celebrity,
celebrity gossip.
celebrity, you know,
That was
popular-
it is like
popular
15
culture.
years ago.
Yeah.
Well, that's probably about
She's
it,
got a reality
right?
show now. She runs a hotel or something. Gull 30, Newcastle 12,
Which is an improvement for Newcastle.
yeah. And Workington 36, Rochdale 4.
Which is a good result for Workington because
Second in the
None
table,
of
aren't
it
they?
matters
Come from nowhere, I think,
because it's finished and we don't know what's happening next. But there's fixtures this week.
and it's not that we just don't know what's happening next
No.
year. We don't know what's happening the year after or the year.
Why are there 2 games on Thursday this week?
Is there?
Salford, Catalans and Huddersfield Leeds, is that right?
I think that's why there were no games on Sunday this week. Huddersfield Leeds was moved from Saturday to Thursday, I think, because of football.
Bloody terriers.
Yeah, two games that probably not many people want to watch, actually.
Am I working Thursday? Oh no, I'm having broadband fade, so I might not be able to watch them. Castleford, Wakefield on Friday, St Helens, Wigan, and St Helens, Wigan.
Which of those two would you watch if you were a neutral?
I'm going to watch St Helens, Wigan. I'm going to press the red button to watch Cast. That's too much effort. I'm not going to watch that. On Saturday, Warrington Lee. And the Championship is London Bradford and Toulouse Batley. Gull, Workington and Whitehaven Crusaders in the Pointless League 1. And on Sunday, the All Derby at 3 o'clock.
This is the third one of the year.
Hmm?
Third All Derby.
That's the main cup, I don't know.
Yeah, they did meet in the cup.
Hang on.
Oh no, did they meet? Was that
Can't
last
remember.
year?
I have no idea.
Hang on. Saturday, 3 o'clock.
Yes.
Warrington versus League.
Yes.
Sunday, 12 o'clock, Women's Super League, Warrington versus League. You morons! What are
Say
you
it as it is.
Just for crying out loud.
It's almost as if they don't own their own ground.
Get Ben Westwood in and do another crappy video because you do not care about your women's team.
Alright, I had to go watch Stranger Things.
No, it's all right.
We
I
know
think
they
we're
finished
done.
now, yeah. I think it's just because outside.
Strange
Strange
thing.
I'm
There
gonna
should be a
get-
subtitle to Rugby League.
I don't know I'm going to get out of this.
Yeah, we didn't think of this, did we? Thanks for coming, James.
The accessibility.
Oh, no. Well, you know.
Don't fall down the stairs.
Oh wait, don't fall down the stairs. Oh right, okay. It's quicker if I
I
do.
need to check my liability insurance.
If we get in trouble, you're the one to
I'm back
blame.
here tomorrow,
Yes, you are.
picking up some merchandise.
You are.
Right,
Thanks for coming.
Nice to see you,
But
Joe.
don't say it like that because
Yeah.
people will think.
Barrow, York and Huddersfield Leeds in the Women's Super League on Sunday. Yeah, but why? It doesn't make any sense, does it? It doesn't make any sense. And I can't... Why would you not want to? I know they'll probably lose, but it doesn't matter because you're giving the women's players who've had an awful season the chance to play at the home ground of the men, and on Sunday they'll be playing at a park. So, again, shame on you. Shame on you, Warrington. Championship, Doncaster York, Featherstone Oldham, with the reduced capacity at the Mega Featherstone
Yeah, did
Stadium.
somebody set fire to it or
I'm
something?
not sure.
Oh no, that
What's
was
gone on
Bradford.
there?
There was a fire at
was
Bradford,
that-
wasn't there, after the
I thought,
Toulouse
yeah,
game?
that's a bit weird. Halifax Widnes and Hunslet Sheffield.
Which is a big game
Big
for
game
those
for
two
Sheffield.
clubs. Well,
Get on the
Hunslet
sportsman.
haven't won at home this year, and it's their last chance. I would have.
And in League One, Hurricanes, Newcastle and Rochdale Dewsbury. Should mention as well, because I forgot to mention earlier, St Helens sending 2 of their young players to the Redcliffe Dolphins for the winter. The 2 of the women's players. So what a great opportunity it'll be for them to go to Australia when it's sunny rather than now when it's rubbish. But is that it? Before we get in any more further trouble?
Are we in trouble?
Possibly.
Oh, okay.
But who with? You'll never find out. Because we need to find out some more gossip about whatever's was going on in Women's Super League. So we're back next week, Monday. No more bank holidays now. Is it?
Not till
The
Christmas.
final charge to Old
As
Trafford.
a campaign, I think that's been really good.
Yeah. wonder who came up with it. It must have been Ken Davey came up with it, because obviously IMG are useless. So.
You'll be able to read about who did in the next issue.
Or Simon Middleton, or
No.
Gary Hennington.
I think you'll find it was Joe Steele.
Not Nigel Wood. No. Where we'll have to get sued.
Oh, lovely.
James will see you soon.
See you soon.
Phil will be back next week. I'll be back next
Possibly.
week. James might be back next week. We don't know.
Who knows? I don't know.
We never know. But thanks for watching, and we'll see you again soon, because James will bring some biscuits.